because we grew up in England. We went to English schools. I didn't want to be Indian. It's not the way we dress. It's not the food we eat. It's the language we speak that identifies us as individuals.
Hi, welcome to Changing Suits. My name's Bal.
And my name's Taj.
This week, we've got a guest whose name is Safrina. Now, she is a teacher, and she's going to talk to us about language, because from the South Asian community, we were wondering whether we appreciate language as much as we should. So, Safrina, could you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, of course, and thanks for having me, and thanks for everyone that's listening. So my name's Safrina Sidhu-Saran. I was born in England, but my parents are back from Ludhiana in Punjab. And I'm owner and creator of Smile4Kids Indian Language School, and I'm highly passionate about preserving our mother tongues. And we teach spoken Hindi, Punjabi, Gujarati, and now Spanish. I'm a trained teacher, and I've worked in schools and colleges and with children for the last 15 years.
And can I ask, in your profession as a teacher, did you teach, obviously you taught here in England, was it to a wide range of children, not just Indian children, but it was very much?
Oh, yes.
White children.
I was working
in
in just like colleges, sixth form colleges and junior schools. And I was actually, I was a careers teacher because I did economics back at university and an MSc. But I drifted away from that through my own experiences, and I just wanted to get into teaching because I love working with children, and I was really passionate, and I still am, about just guiding children in the right way to finding the right career for themselves.
So what made you passionate about teaching languages in particular?
So it goes back to, like, I have two beautiful daughters. One is 7 now, and the elder one is 11 going on 12. But when the elder one was 7 years old, which was 4 years ago, I just woke up one morning, I think we were on holiday, and I thought, hang on, she can't speak Punjabi. And I'm a teacher. So how do I make this happen? And my mother-in-law lives with us. So I think in my mind, it was a done deal, right? I thought, and she'll just listen to my mother-in-law. But my mother-in-law tended to speak English. It just didn't register to me until we went on holiday. You know, when you have a bit of a light bulb
What
moment,
happened?
what's going on in
What
my
happened
life?
on holiday that made you realise that? Just out of...
I was relaxing. Wow.
So that's all it takes. Just take a bit of a step back,
think.
and then you realised. That's interesting.
I had time to think about life.
So many of us go through the same thing, don't we? Where, to be honest, I'll put my hands up. My children aren't learning Punjabi, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I need to sort this out.
Yeah. So I was, I just thought, okay, what I'll do is I'll go back and I'll sign up my elder one, because the younger one was only 4. I'll sign her up to Punjabi school. I'd never had to go to Punjabi school because although my parents actually spoke a lot of English, they were quite westernized in their ways, the way they dressed and the jobs they had, and not the jobs they had, but the professions and everything they did. They actually spoke mixed, a lot of English, a little bit.
On that point then, were you quite fluent in Punjabi yourself?
Yeah, so this is what happened. It made me think about, how did I learn Punjabi? Something that you just don't think about really until you have children, and you think, how did I learn? Me and my brother, I've got an older brother, we never went to Punjabi school. We never even picked up a gada, ura, ara, iri, nothing like that. We just went to India every year for 6 weeks.
How did you find, so just like Taj has said, we're going through the same thing. So when my kids were small, they actually knew Punjabi fluently because we lived with our in-laws, and we wanted to encourage that. However, as they've grown up, their Punjabi has slowly diminished, and it's got, they're speaking English. We're speaking English. And now we're not living with the in-laws. Going back to what you said, there's that other step where actually, no, we need to make that effort to do it as well, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. So I mean, I always, whenever a new parent approaches me by phone, a new inquiry, they always feel so guilty. They were like, "Oh, but we're not." And I said, "Don't worry. 4 years ago, this was me and my husband. We didn't speak any Punjabi. So how do we expect our kids?"
You know, that guilt that you're talking about, this comes back to, when they say, and I'm going to use it because I'm going to use my own experience, where where you sort of hear that your kids can't speak it and the person they're speaking to only speaks Punjabi, and you're like, oh my God, this is awful. And I know, I'm well aware that it's my fault. And it's that guilt. It is awful to think.
Yeah, but we shouldn't feel guilty. And this is like, I've really looked at it in another way, because I come from the approach of being a teacher, a parent, and a student. How do I put the three together and make it work for everybody, right? First of all, we're like third generation, are we? We're third generation.
Second generation,
Or second generation. And it's not our fault, really, because we grew up in England. We went to English schools. I mean, I'm not ashamed to admit it, but this is how I grew up. I didn't want to be Indian. I wanted my hair cut. I wanted to dress like my English friends. And, it's just the way it was, right? We didn't want to smell of curry.
The good old torka.
Stop cooking. My coat's gonna smell.
We still say it.
It was just a thing. It was just a thing, right? That was it was just a time that we grew up, right? But it's not our fault, because then somewhere along the line, obviously we became like English, right? Because although we learnt Punjabi through our parents, now we're parenting ourselves. It's quite hard for us, because now we have to step back
100% is so no, this is so true. As a parent, you then start looking at everything your parents tried to make you learn. It's like, okay, now I have to do the same thing, and you're just repeating the same conversations our parents were having.
But it's the woman gets blamed for the children not speaking the language, like the mother tongue.
No, but I'll be honest with you. My husband, we've been married 19 years now. And when we first met, he spoke very little Punjabi, to the point where I remember taking my father-in-law in a taxi, and we were in Delhi, actually. And I'd been to India every year growing up, right? So I mean, obviously it's changed a lot. But he kept talking about, Baji, khoti kinne diya. Oh, then he's like, khoti kinne diya. I was like, what are you trying to say? Are you trying to ask about the properties? Yeah, khoti. And the driver was laughing, and my father-in-law was just like, I said, just speak English, like we're in Delhi, and everybody in India speaks English. Please stop it.
You're embarrassing us.
From that point, he couldn't understand why we were like, he's trying his best, bless him, right? Like, I do admire him for trying, right? But 19 years down the line, his Punjabi is fluent, especially in the last 4 years, because I've made a concerted effort for all of us to speak Punjabi. I'm not saying it happened overnight. It didn't happen overnight. I was just as guilty, right, of speaking English, because it's convenient. It's just easy. You don't have to think about it. But just small changes I made, and this is what I say to parents that join as well, that have the same issues. When you say so, and going back to like my language course, how I designed it is I studied my children and our family, what we actually say to each other. Now, what do we say to each other in English? Go upstairs, do your homework, have a bath. Do you want to eat this? Do you want to drink this? What are you going to wear? Put your socks away. It's like a robot. It's the same. It's nothing profound or, politics or something that we're really discussing with them. Let's face it, right? So I started writing down everything that we were saying. I did it for a month, and it came down to the same handful of phrases every day. Obviously there's more to it.
That's really clever to do it that way.
But I wanted to make it relatable, because I could not find, going back to obviously the Punjabi school that I took my daughter to. I'm not knocking Punjabi school. It suits some people, but it didn't suit us, because I wanted conversational Punjabi. We went for 5 weeks. I was exhausted after the 3 hours of, they asked me to actually teach, because they wouldn't let me sit in unless I actually volunteered to. I thought, yeah, I don't mind. I love it. but that's where it really opened my eyes. I
Can
thought,
I bring you back? Because I want to go back into the practicalities, because I'm going to be writing notes of, oh, actually, I need to do that as well, because I think that's really interesting you've said that.
I should do like a little
You
crib sheet,
should.
shouldn't I?
You're going to have to give us a cheat sheet. But I just want to ask one really important question. So you're on that holiday. You've realised that your kids can't speak Punjabi. And this is
Yeah.
any language. It's not just Punjabi. This is
Oh
any
God,
language.
yeah.
You know, whether it's Hindi, Urdu, whatever the language is. But why is it important to you? Why?
It's important to me because I realised that I love Punjabi. I love speaking Punjabi. I love India. Whenever me and my husband went, before we had the kids, when we used to go to Amritsar Airport actually, um, and we both felt it. It's just like you're home, right? Even though we were born here, you just feel that. I don't know if you guys feel that when you get there, feel home. And like I said, we went to India every year, me and my brother, with my parents. And those are my memories, right? I love it. It was baking hot. I know we used to go in June, July.
The best time,
We used
right?
to wear layers and layers of clothes because we had to take them for the relatives. And there was
Oh, we all do the same thing.
We were sweating but my mum used to say, "Nay, we have to wear them. You can take them off right at the airport, because of luggage restrictions." Right?
Yeah, we did that.
They're just wonderful memories, right? But for me personally, I don't want my kids to lose that. I think it's a tragedy because I always say, it's not the way we dress, it's not the food we eat, it's not the music we listen to, it's the language we speak that identifies us as individuals. Yeah. Now you can go to Spain, Val, and you can eat paella, you can do flamenco dancing, and you can wear the Spanish dresses. But does that make you Spanish? No, it does not make you Spanish.
That's an interesting way you put that, actually. That's really...
Yeah, that's what I'm really, really passionate about. And I felt there was nothing going on that related to what I wanted for my kids, which is conversational.
Why aren't the Punjabi schools working? What is not right? Because it's happening with a
Oh,
lot.
well, this is the thing, right? I had a big meeting. So I'm sitting there panicking, thinking I've got to speak every word in Punjabi now because these seniors will come down on me like a ton of bricks if I. So I'm sweating the night before, thinking, God, I'm preparing what to say. But I get in there and they're speaking English to me. And one guy actually admitted that his kids don't speak Punjabi because they didn't like coming to the Punjabi school. And he's head of education. I was just like, what? What is going
But
on?
again, going back to
So
it.
anyway, I told them my views. I said, look, when the children are brought up here, like we were, we don't learn to read the alphabet, right? We don't learn how to write the alphabet. We don't learn A, B, C, and then we start speaking. Why are you guys teaching Ura, Ara, Iri and leaving the speaking to it doesn't make any sense, right? They listened to me and they sort of humoured me, but unfortunately then lockdown happened. But even after that, they didn't want to know. They're just, it's just the way it is. And it suits some people, but I feel like 90% of us want the conversational Punjabi. We do offer, I do feel that reading and writing is an extra skill, right? Reading, writing Punjabi. I'm asking my daughter to learn it now, my 11-year-old. She is enjoying it. It's just an extra skill, right? So, but I don't think it's as important as learning to speak Punjabi.
Okay, so going back to your practical steps, so when you started teaching your kids firstly, and also your husband, because you've said that he didn't know Punjabi, and obviously he's progressed so much in 4 years, which means you've obviously been teaching him as well, which is fab.
It's not even teaching. Well, it's we're just trying to use it more at home. So like I said, it was baby steps. When the realization happened, hang on, I can speak fluent Punjabi. Why am I not using this at home? Dudh pila, roti khala, what uppar ja, thalle aa. It's quite funny. When I studied Punjabi, I thought we only used like really 2 words.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
We don't use the ha or the, ma.
Job karke bada. Yeah, you're right. It's 2 words.
Commands. It's just commands. And it's easy. It's just 2 words, right? And I realized when you ask a question, you answer it with the same words, but just a little
mixed around. Yeah, you're right.
Tusi kitte jana hai? Main itte jana
But do you know
hai.
what? Trying to mix it up. So going on that, because my kids do go to a Punjabi school, and you know when they're doing homework, it's interesting because if you were to write it in the English phrase, it isn't in the same order as you do in a Punjabi
Yeah.
phrase or Hindi
No,
or
no,
Urdu phrase.
no,
And so they're
no.
like, well, how comes it's the wrong way round? It's like,
Yeah.
hold on. Who's to say it's the wrong way round and which one's right and which one's wrong, right?
Yeah.
But it does add an extra layer of actually, it's not, you don't have
Yeah,
to
but
learn extensive.
now, I don't think we should be overthinking this whole thing. For me, I know, hands up, I know my kids can speak Punjabi, but I know they won't be as fluent as I am unless they go and stay a month in India or whatever, like they do on these programs, like where you go and learn French for a month and you just speak French, right? It's not going to happen because we're as guilty as the next person, where we don't go to India every year. We go to Dubai, we go to Tenerife, whatever, right? It's just the way it is, right? My kids love India, but we don't really have much family. That's no excuse, but it's not like the old days. But the way I did it was, it was hard in the beginning. I was like speaking English, and then I thought to myself, I trained my brain. I thought, you can do this, Safrina. When you say something that is common every day, like roti kala, and you think twice and you think, I'm just saying, come and eat your dinner, right? You say it in English, but say it in Punjabi. Then the next time it becomes easier because you've already said it, right? It's just saying it, right? So I practiced first saying English and then repeating only a few phrases, not everything, because that's really hard. You're making it too hard for yourself. So if you do it on a daily basis, right, and then you repeat it in Punjabi or Hindi or Gujarati or whatever, and then you break it down like that, then eventually your brain just switches and you just start speaking more and more Punjabi or
So,
Hindi.
like I was saying, with my kids, we did start off speaking Punjabi, and then obviously they've gone to school and they're only speaking English now. And they've got bits of
Yeah.
Punjabi now. One of my good friends, she's been fantastic. I mean, if you want to see a model parent, that's the way to go. But she is consistent, and her kids are still, and they're the same age as mine's, 7 and 6. But they are still speaking Punjabi at home. So after I went away with her actually, and I was like, okay, get home, and we're going to be speaking and doing exactly what you said, the common phrases at home.
Yeah.
However, that lasted a few days, and we're back to where we always are. It's that habit thing as well. How would you suggest breaking that habit
It is
of
a habit.
going back to English again then?
Well, this is the thing. It has to be one parent, and usually it is the mother, I'll be honest with you, that has to take the lead. We can't rely on grandparents, as I said. I just can't. I have constant battles with my mother-in-law. Every evening she say, do you want to drink milk? And I'm like, Mom, dudh pila.
In the accent as well.
For God's sakes, it's my reputation. I teach Punjabi. You're letting me down. Yeah, she's like, yeah, no. Then she'll say it, right? But, it's stop and start. But I think you've just got to tell yourself, right, you know what? I'm just going to speak Punjabi now as much as I can. One parent has to make that decision. The others will follow. And once you start, you can't stop. So we bought a dog 3 years ago, and my husband, is a Doberman. He's training him in German commands, River, this, that, and the other, Platz. I'm like, what's he saying, right? And I said, look, you're going to be at work. I'm with him at home because I work from home, right? I was speaking to him Punjabi. I couldn't help it.
Even that dog's having issues.
I was saying to them, he understands, he knows. Because obviously they don't understand vocabulary, they just understand the tone.
But then
right?
why did you decide to go, why was he teaching him in German then?
It's just the trainer that he had. I have no idea, but it's just the trainer he had preferred German.
Okay.
Although he's English. It's quite bizarre, really. But yeah, I'm trying to say, I got into speaking Punjabi so much that even the dog got the Punjabi, vocab, really, because I couldn't help it. because that's how I speak to
Do
my
you know what?
kids,
That's
right?
interesting though, because it comes down to, like you said, the tone of voice. I mean, he doesn't understand vocabulary. It is
No,
it's the commands.
it's a
And it's the
command.
same
Yeah.
thing. I mean, each language, I mean, it's funny. I saw this thing on Facebook a while ago, and they were saying how, if you want to be romantic, you'll be talking French. If you want to, I don't know, the whole load of languages.
Yeah. I
And
know.
then
Yeah.
if it's swearing, then obviously it's Punjabi because, we got the best swear
Oh,
words. But
oh, they all know the
they
bad
do. And
words.
this is the
Yeah,
thing.
my youngest one loves it.
This is the
Like
thing. I
she
mean,
loves
but we
it.
are adding a negativity on any language of actually no, that's the only thing it qualifies in, and English is the general all rounder. Well, actually, all languages are all rounders. You've just got to know how to use them, right?
Yeah. And I also think it's an embarrassment factor, which I find still quite um, shocking, I guess, even though I was embarrassed when I was younger. But through these generations, I always, in the first class, when I used to teach them myself, and I trained my teachers to do this as well, I asked them, say hello in Spanish, and they're like, hola, like, and then French, bonjour, they're like volunteering. And I said, what? Do you say that at school? Like, are you embarrassed? No, they're showing off. One of them was saying that he speaks I don't know, Argentinian or something. God knows what he was saying to me, showing off, right? That he knows, and Mandarin and everything, right? I said, why can't you show off Punjabi, Hindi, Gujarati? Oh no, miss. I was like, but you've got English friends. Why can't you walk up to them and say Sasrikal
And what was the answer to that?
or
Because that's
Namaste?
really that's quite a deep
But it's
question.
embarrassing. Miss. I said, why is Spanish not embarrassing? Why? And I always train my teachers to ask them to get this fear factor, this embarrassment factor. Once you lose that, it's an open gate, honestly. Then they're willing to do it. Like I said, my 7-year-old now was 4 years old, and she was teaching all the kids in the playground numbers in Punjabi to 20 at 4 years old. I was like,
Fantastic.
do you know what?
But is it because we're seeing that people are still seeing that Punjabi is a backwards language, and then if someone speaks it, we're still thinking of desiness, and that's what the
I
embarrassment
don't
comes
think
off?
it's people. I think it's the children. And I think it goes back to our original point where we're not introducing to them at home. So it's alien to them, right? We're not speaking it at home. So obviously it's not natural to them.
But we used to do the same as well. When our dad used to speak Punjabi and say, speak Punjabi, we'd stop speaking. And our kids do the same. So it's like a repeated pattern.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think you picked up on something a lot deeper there, Safrina. As in, because I was talking to my husband
God,
about
it
this.
goes really, honestly, it goes really deep, because that's why I'm really passionate, because it's not just my kids that I'm doing it for. It's for everyone. And I think if we don't do something right now with this next generation, our culture, our language will just die out, literally. Punjabi, Hindi, Gujarati. And that's what makes me even more passionate. So for me, I'm doing my small bit to keep it alive. And I think it's really important because losing our mother tongue is imminent, really.
Can I say do you know what? I mean, I always say this. We always end up going into conversations that I don't expect on these podcasts. And I think you picked up on something that's so important. And this comes back to why we've, made this organization, this podcast and other events that we do. Because although we've got a lot of negative things that culturally are happening, however, we've got such positive things. Now, although we're saying to our kids, don't be embarrassed of speaking Punjabi or Hindi or Urdu, Gujarati, whatever the language is. Well, actually, going back to what you said, I was, again, this conversation with my husband, I was embarrassed when I was younger. It's only been over the last few years where I'm like, actually, we should be proud of where we are. Because if you look at the media, I mean, I remember seeing something last year as to looking at the royal kids. And apparently they know 10 different languages. I can't remember the number of languages they know. It's like, hold on,
Oh,
we
yeah.
naturally, and we're like, oh, well done, pat on the back. They know that many languages. Well, actually, naturally, we know these languages. We're in a different culture, different languages that are around us. So why don't we pat ourselves on the back and say, well, actually, let's not be embarrassed on this, because if the royal kids are doing it, we should be doing it as well.
Yeah, 100%. And we need to I said, going back to what we said in the beginning, um, the fault lies with, and it's not necessarily a fault, it's just the way it is. It lies with parents, you know, like it lies with us. If we don't speak Punjabi at home, how do we expect our kids to speak?
And be
It's
proud.
alien to them.
And be proud of what they are. What?
And be proud.
Yeah. Okay, so practicality. So you've given us an absolutely. What is it on your? Don't give us all of your tips and tricks, but you've given us a bit of a cheat sheet start. You started off with common words with your kids, and you were saying these common words with your kids. And what's next?
Yeah.
What else did you get them to do?
So then, like I actually fell into this, and it sounds really bad, but it wasn't my intention. I did take a career break to have my children, and I thought, shall I go back to teaching? How do I? It works around the kids and everything, but again, going back to this holiday, I thought, let me take my elder one to Punjabi school. Didn't work for me, and then I just started doing flashcards, and it was quite funny actually, because we, again, on this holiday, we used to dance around the room to Cardi B, right? And I should have practiced this before, but I haven't.
Are you
But
going to show us your
anyway,
dance?
No. So Cardi B, I like it like that. They used to love that song, right? We used to dance around. My husband was like, what are you three doing, right? But we were getting ready, like we're on holiday, right? And so when we came back, I thought I really was on a mission. I thought, how do I teach them that? There must be an easier way. So I made up flashcards, colors, numbers, whatever. It was working. And then I just started singing on the way to school. Yeah. I started singing, and this is where I should have practiced, right? I like peas that are butter, carrots that are gajar, aloo is potato, spinach, lemon, cucumber, palak, nimbu, kira, menu change lagde. I like them. Oh, and they were like, oh, they just suddenly switched on. They were like, what? What are you singing? Anyway, I just repeated it a couple of times. I drove them back home, and they kind of like remembered most of it. They remembered Minu Changa Lagda. I was like, well, that's a good phrase, isn't it? Yeah. And then we started using that. So I think songs are really powerful as well, like, because they, stay in your head. Then I did one, and there is a YouTube video that we did over lockdown. It's Mutolo, Mutolo, wash your face. Hatolo, you see, it's very similar, isn't it? It's just the body parts that are changing.
I do that when I'm giving the kids showers, and we sing the body parts.
So Taj has got building work. Just to let everyone know on the podcast, this is how to record a podcast whilst you've got building work going on at the same time. Sorry, go on, Safrina.
And my younger one still does that when she's getting ready every now and then. Bar balo, and then it's like ette bacho, otte jao, she'll say to her sister. And it's just like, I think that what I'm trying to say is make it fun. Don't put too much pressure on them. If you start putting too much pressure on a child for anything, they'll just back off. And that's what we try and do in the classes. That's what I train my teachers. That's what I was doing when I was teaching. Just make it fun. Don't put too much pressure on.
Can I ask, in regards to the music, because that is a really, again, I hadn't even thought of it. This is why I keep asking you tips. I'm like, is there anywhere that you could recommend to, go to where they could listen to these songs? Is there a YouTube? So you did something on YouTube yourself?
Well, it's all on my portal. I've actually done some animation on the songs, which has taken about a year now. I haven't done it, but I've been working with somebody. I'm like, oh, it's taking too long. But I just couldn't believe how much there is to it. But yeah, once the children join on the classes, they'll have access to the portal of resources, which includes the songs, activity, homework, and the culture topics as well, which we discuss.
In your school, so going back to, you had that career break, and then you decided, well, actually, this is something I'm really passionate about, teaching language. 100%, yeah. And you decided to open your own school. So you teach Punjabi, Hindi, Gujarati, and Spanish within this school?
Online. Yeah, online only.
And what is it different about yours compared to the schools out there, whichever language it is, what are you doing slightly
Well,
differently?
I feel it's different because it's coming from me. I wrote everything myself, literally. I didn't copy. I did initially. I'll tell you a funny conversation because a lot of my cousins are teachers in India. So I had this brainwave. I thought, let me call them, right? Get some materials, and I'll just sort of like start with that. Um, didn't get anywhere. She put me in touch with somebody in Delhi College, head of Delhi College, right, Baji, and he spoke to me at great length. And I said, Baji, can you give me some like materials? Like you must have something. Nay, nay, he said, they just learn like curry, like at home. They just learn. We don't have any materials to teach them to speak Punjabi. Yeah, read and write, yes. And he flipped it and he said, have you got any materials to teach them English? I was like, oh
Oh,
my
okay.
God. A very sweet guy, right? And then I said, look, I'll be honest with you, Baji. There's something inside me that is driving me. I don't know what it is to do this. I will find a way. I was just asking for your help. And he said this one thing, and it might sound really cheesy or whatever, but this was the moment that has stuck with me. And this was the driving force for me. He said, and I'll say it in Punjabi if
No,
you don't
please do.
mind. Yeah, he said, ਭੈਣ ਜੀ ਰੱਬ ਨਾ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ choose ਕਰਦਾ ਆ to do this kind of work, and he's chosen you. I swear to God, he said that
Oh,
to
that's
me, and
lovely. That is beautiful.
I felt like crying. I was like, that's how I feel because I'm a teacher, I'm a mother, I'm a passionate Punjabi speaker. So I do feel I'm the chosen one because I'm the fun mum, right? I know how to teach my kids and other kids that I was teaching. They love me as a teacher. So why not? And it just honestly, that moment just turned everything. And my husband, you know what he said to me, bless him. I know I'm putting him down a
Now
lot
we
in
always
this
do
one,
that,
but
but we love him. That's why we do it. Go for it,
he
Safrina.
loves it. He loves it. And he said to me, Safrina, who's going to pay you to teach Punjabi when they can go to the Gurdwara, right? I said, good point, Ali. And then when it all started taking off, right? He's like, no, but I didn't realize you're going to teach like that.
So he had to eat
So
his
in
own
answer
words,
to
eh?
your question, in answer to your question, I've made it very personal. It's coming from me. It's not something that's written in textbooks and I'm just taking it. I have observed my children, and I'm a teacher as well. I'm a parent, and I come from the student point of view as well, like I said before. So, what makes our school different? What makes my course different? It is very, very personable, and we take each child as an individual, almost like they're like our children. Do you understand? Like, it's not like, oh, chalo aoji, group them together. Okay, if you don't talk, that's fine. For example, I had a lovely review the other day, feedback, sorry, from one mum that says, Frina, your teacher, I won't mention her name in case she doesn't want it mentioned, but one of your teachers, again, I can't remember the girl's name, but just say Bella. Bella was really shy, and the teacher just asked her a question. She couldn't answer it, and she was feeling a bit down, a bit like low confidence that day. And the teacher really helped her to get the answer. And at the end of that class, she was buzzing. She said, I've got this written down in a text, right? And that's what it's about. Like, we treat each child, and I always, when I train my teachers, I say, if you've got a shy child, don't just like leave them, right? That's not what I want. Every child to be included in class. You've got the really overconfident ones that miss, right? Calm them down, bring the shy ones in, bring them all at the same level. So it's a very personal sort of like class, do you know what I mean? Tailored to everyone. Not it's just like roll it out next, you know. So that's the way I look at it. I find it very hard to describe my classes, by the way. You have to just watch them
Well,
to
it's your
see.
passion that I love because I mean, just the way you've spoken about it, and those penny. I'm going to ask where you were on holiday when the penny dropped because obviously it's a place everyone used to go.
Oh, it was only Tenerife, but it was a posh.
That's
Tenerife.
all right then. Okay, so the other thing is you obviously teach a number of languages: Punjabi, Hindi, Gujarati, and Spanish. Now, if a child comes to your school and says, are you planning to extend that beyond those languages as well, or what's your plan?
Not at the moment, because the thing is, from my part, I write everything. I write the lesson plans for the teachers. I train the teachers. I write the homeworks, the activities, the culture topics, the songs. I do it all. I'm like a one-woman band. And honestly, it's taken up a lot of my time behind the scenes. And I've just done a new website with somebody. It's taken about 8 months. And the anime, there's always something going on. We've done flashcards. I feel like it's a family affair. It's not like when we go swimming, right? We just look on our phone, look for 2 seconds and say, oh, yeah, well done. Back on our phone, right? Like learning a language it's a family affair. And that goes back to what we were saying.
With the fact that you're teaching the children, what conversations are you having with parents? Because it's not, like we've said earlier, it's not just about what they're learning, whether it's your school or a different school, whichever language it is. It's about what they're learning at home as well and what they're picking up on. What are you saying to parents about speaking the language, whichever language it is? How are you encouraging them?
I just say it's exactly what I've just said before, that we must make an effort to start speaking. Don't be scared if you get it wrong. I mean, the thing is, parents say, but I can't speak Punjabi properly. It doesn't matter if you get a verb wrong or a past tense or a, present tense. I have a handful of like adults that are so scared to speak Punjabi because they get mocked or laughed or whatever. So it's a safe space for them to come
Who's
to
mocking the
class.
parents, just out of interest?
Oh, it's just the elders, like what they're like. Even my mother-in-law's the same. If my younger daughter gets something wrong, like, nay, 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 ha, ha, ha. Like, but she doesn't care. My younger one's like, Teflon, literally, thank God. But, other kids obviously would.
But that's the tough thing, because
Um,
it is, and I agree. I mean, with the fact that, because even when we were going through that phase where we were really trying to speak Punjabi at home, and then it was going wrong, and you could see the different the things that the kids were getting wrong. Would you, in that case, suggest, well, correct them there and then, or what would you say in regards to that?
I would correct them, but to me, it's a mindset thing, right? To me, what's more important is one, they're making an effort to speak. I commend that, yeah, which is a 10-step forward than what it was, a few years ago. And two, they love speaking Punjabi. That's my main aim for everybody. I just want them to love, like we love, when we watch Punjabi films, it's just like completely different vibe, isn't it? Like the humor, the jokes. You can't say those in English. It's just me and my husband always banter, like in Punjabi. And you can't do the same thing in English. So for me, it's about uh, even if they possess like a little confidence, don't knock that confidence by overcorrecting. For me as a parent, um, obviously, I can't speak for everybody else. I'm just happy that they've embraced it. They know a little bit. They know the basics. They can line up in a langar queue and ask me, gobi chahiye, minu roti chahiye, ek roti chahiye. I'm happy with that, right? It's expectations, right? As I said before, I don't think our generation, for whatever reason, yeah, will speak as fluent as us unless they go and live in India for a month or two and just speak Punjabi. If that's possible, they will. But if they've got the seeds to it, that will grow. And like I said, these adults now are 25, 26 years old, and they really want to learn now. They didn't want to learn when they were younger. So it's nice to see that.
But you've
right?
given up hope now, that because I was thinking, oh my God, my daughter's 10, can I teach her? But you said your husband's
Oh,
learned it,
100%.
so we
Yeah,
should go and do
100%.
it. Mm.
Yeah. Just start speaking Punjabi. Tell yourself it's a, like I said, you have to make a decision in your mind and think. Don't just keep putting it off because there's football tonight, or they're going XYZ tonight, or I'm exhausted, or I'm thinking about cooking or whatever, right? Even when I'm cooking, I get all the haldi, jeera, everything out, and I get them to name it. It's just practical Punjabi. Practical
Funny you should say
Punjabi.
that. I don't think I know the Jira and everything the other way around. I don't know it in English. So I have to Google it.
Oh, right. Okay, maybe I should give you a cooking lesson, right?
In English.
But there's Google. There's Google. There's
Yeah, that's
Google,
what I
Taj.
do. I end up Googling because I only know in Punjabi the Jida and the Haldi.
Google Translate.
Yeah, and then you translate it the other way.
Do you know what? You talk about Google Translate. It is actually quite amazing about having even on your TV box. My husband put Google Translate up. I don't know how he did it, but I was amazed. It was all translated into English from the other language. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
This
You can translate a whole lot. But the other thing I wanted to say was, you asked me why languages are important. Obviously, keep your mother tongue alive. I always say that. The identity, connecting generations is key,
yeah.
literally, honestly. Connecting grandparents and us. And the other thing is, what I say is, how many times do we do something with our kids where we're learning together? We don't. It's a common thing, isn't it, that you're doing together when you're learning to speak a language like Punjabi or Hindi or Gujarati. But the other interesting scientific fact is, bilingualism, and this is what I sell to the kids as well in classes as well, right? This really sells it. Not that we should be selling it, I know, but it's a little trick. It's a little trick. Maybe you can try it for your kids. Bilingualism actually improves your cognitive ability, right? So cognitive abilities like long-term memory, yeah, being able to listen and communication skills, they get enhanced because you don't know this, Bal and Taj, but we are thinking in two different languages because we speak Punjabi and English. You don't know that. You don't know that. I didn't know that, right? So automatically our brain is quite enhanced in that, and in terms of creativity and just our skills are enhanced if you speak two different languages. And for example, if you're in a noisy restaurant, right, because we can speak two languages, we'll be able to focus more and hear that person more than somebody that speaks one language. They wouldn't be able to drown out the
Oh, that's
noise.
interesting, isn't it?
So there are so many different layers to being able to speak two or more languages because it just opens that door to your cognitive ability to be improved.
Those two things that you've just said in regards to that, firstly, the cognitive advancement in your own brain,
Hmm.
but also I find it interesting the generational connection as well that you've just brought up as well, because now you've
Yeah,
said it,
yeah,
that is 100% right. My in-laws and my parents talk Punjabi, and my kids are starting to speak a lot more English, and we're trying to get them there. But it's true. And if there's no connection, there's a break, in which case they won't go up to our parents and ask them how they were and do this, that, and the other. And that breaks that relationship because we never had that problem.
yeah,
We spoke Punjabi because our parents made us. And then
yeah,
because our grandparents could only speak Punjabi, we didn't have a choice. Whereas now with our grandparents, they can speak bits of English. So, if the kids are saying
yeah,
something in English, they'll understand it, that they don't need to push, like you said, in your own situation as well and in ours.
yeah.
So
Yeah, but the grandparents are practicing their English, like they're really smart because
they're taking
they're being
advantage.
bilingual. They're like, let me learn English now.
But that's a beautiful thing to say. And I think with the South Asian community, we know we are a close-knit community, whether it's within our families or our close friends and family. But that if we're breaking those connections, that South Asian
Oh,
culture of us
100%.
is breaking
You know,
down as well.
and I don't know if this is the right word, but it's a symbiotic relationship. One feeds off the other. So the grandparents they can talk to the kids in English. That's fine. They're improving their English. As they're getting older, their brain cells are turning over, and I'm not against it, right? So, but then the other way around is the kids can learn from them, and their relationship just improves. And like I said, I'm not trying to plug my products, but I've designed flashcards to play as a family, and my kids do play. We all play in Punjabi, and it's hilarious. Literally, I did a video last Christmas. My mother-in-law was the worst. She was like, I said, Mum, say pila, don't say yellow, right? And the kids were laughing. They were like hysterical. Literally, I was trying to film it, right? And she's like, mere call. yellow, this, that, and she had all the cards, right, on the colors and the animals and all. I was like, no. But it was just such a nice experience because we were sitting at the table and the kids were enjoying it. My husband couldn't stop laughing. He was like, Mom, for God's sakes, the kids have got it. You
But
haven't
the thing is,
got it.
even our parents are losing the language as well, because they're like, if you go to them and ask them, I don't know, what is brown, they have to think about it as well, because they're starting
Yeah.
to use bits of English in their
Oh,
language
yeah,
as
yeah,
well.
yeah. I was asked what rose gold was in my class. I was like, what? Like, why are these kids asking me what rose gold is in
I'll tell you
Punjabi?
funny stories, and we're coming up to the. But I just want to put this in. So when I got married, I was actually talking to my husband. I was like, I always repeat this story because I found it so funny. I go, "Oh, can you get the towel from the drawer?" And he's like, "Towel? What's towel?" I'm like, "The towel, the towel." He goes, "It's not called towel." I'm like,
Oh, no.
"Oh my god, my mum has been lying to us our whole lives.
Ah,
She has been teaching us the wrong words. It's actually towel in the Punjabi
oh,
accent." It's
yeah.
just to let everyone know it's Dahlia. So now I actually have to
Oh,
check with my husband every so often that I have learned the right word. So on that point,
Yeah, that's funny, because Bao told me, and I was like, oh my God, my world has been destroyed, thinking that.
well, our lives aren't just about that Darwin comment, but it's just the fact that our
But
parents
now I
have,
say it to my kids as well, and they always remember, because of that
yeah,
funny story. Now they know how
yeah,
to.
yeah, yeah. That's what I mean. It's the humor we need to inject and the lightheartedness. This is what going back to what I said. Don't put too much pressure on yourself and don't put too much pressure on the kids. You know, I would rather my kids knew 5 sentences like, that, without even thinking in Punjabi, than be thrown 20 sentences as they learn, right? And they back off and they say, oh, I don't want to do it, right? And I don't know what my 7-year-old comes out with, but she comes out with all sorts which are a bit wrong, but it just makes me laugh. Right? She knows what gala is, right? And she was like, I don't know, calling it something else. And my elder daughter was laughing. I really wish I could remember what the whole scene was, but they were rolling about on the floor laughing. And I thought, do you know what? I wish I could film this because they're having fun. They're getting it a bit wrong, but the other one's laughing because she knows the younger one's got it wrong. But then she started laughing, and I just couldn't stop laughing either. But that's what it's about. It's just having that
that
fun as a
connection. Yeah.
family. And what I say to parents is going back to your tips. Another tip and trick for you, ladies. Yeah, this is valuable, right? Charge for this, I do.
Go on, give it then, Safrina. We want to hear it now. You've said that.
I'm joking. So what I say to parents is don't be so hard on yourself. This is why I encourage parents to do that join as well. Whatever sentences we give you that week, so maybe it's a colours topic, right? And we've done greetings. We do greetings every week. We've given you 3 greetings, right? So in Punjabi, it'd be Sat Sri Akal, Tuada na ki hai, mera na, tusi kiddaਂ ho, main theek hu, right? That's 5, isn't it, really? Say those every day at one mealtime. Every day, the same one,
Okay.
right? And then obviously in our classes, when they come back on the 7th day, because it's once a week, every week, they would have said that, or you would have said that as a family 6 times more than you would have done it ordinarily. Yeah. And it's the same sentences, right? Practice the same sentences for a week. I guarantee it will become habit. It's like repetition. It is repetition. It becomes a habit. Don't try and throw in like 5 other sentences every day. They're going to get confused. You will start saying it. They will start saying it. The thing is, I know you know what their name is, right? It sounds silly when you're sitting there, but what you're doing at mealtime, you're just talking about what happened at school, sit properly, this, that, and the other.
So use it as valuable time to teach them.
Yeah, again, if they're doing colours, or if you want to do colours, you can ask them to point out all the colours on their plate. We love it. Like, we just love doing it every now and then. Now, obviously, my kids know, but I keep up with them. I don't think, oh, they know it. That's fine. Leave it. Park it there for a year. No, I do it every now and then when I remember when we're eating, or even what they're wearing, sort of thing. So it's that daily sort of like interaction that we need. That's the key. You can't just do it once a week and think, oh yeah, we got it now. That's it. Move on to the next sentence. That's my greatest tip I can give you.
Coming to the end of the podcast now, can you just finish off, Safrina, for those parents who have got kids that are mainly speaking English? We spoke about that parent guilt, mainly mother guilt.
Yeah.
Can you give us a bit of advice, just finishing off, as to what we can do, firstly, to get rid of that guilt, but also to make sure that we are teaching our kids our mother tongue? I think you've done it throughout this whole podcast, but give us a summarized version of your top tips and tricks.
Yeah. So basically, there's no guilt. There should be no guilt. Like I said, I was in that position 4 years ago, right? I don't feel guilty. It's just the way it is because we grew up in this country. Everybody's in the same boat. You're not alone. And this is what really, like, I was profoundly shocked with, that I thought it was just me that's not teaching my kids English, Punjabi, right? When I advertised December 2018 on Facebook, I could not believe I had 25 inquiries, like literally within 2 days. And I thought, wow, where are these people? I thought it was just me. I thought everyone was going to Punjabi school and learning Punjabi, and it was just me that got left behind. So, and I get inquiries from Malaysia, Singapore, all around the world. I have people from Dubai on my courses. Yeah, it's a worldwide second generation or third generation for our kids issue because of our background, right? We're not going to India anymore. Grandparents, obviously, they don't live with us necessarily like they used to. And we are not speaking our mother tongue, right? So that's the first step, to actually make that effort. Like I've said all throughout this, even just the same phrase every day, even if you just repeat one phrase, right? Even if you say to them, Uppa jao, that's it. For 6 days, they will know that, you will know that, it'll become a habit for you. Baby steps, right? So there should be no guilt. There should be no guilt. And just slowly and steadily just build up the vocabulary. Obviously, I'm going to promote my classes because I think it is a safe space. It structures it for you as parents. I've structured so you're not like scrambling around for topics and stuff. And I think also children are used to being in a classroom setting and listening to a teacher. They unfortunately will not listen to us as mothers, right? Or fathers. They will listen to a teacher. Trust me. If my teacher tells them, or when I used to tell the students, go and do this, I will expect you to learn it by next week.
They will do it.
Like, oh no, I know, we're going to do it, right? Or go and say, this is another thing we do, like go and say, Sat Sri Akal, tusi kidan ho, main theek haan, to 5 people this week. Who are you going to say it to? Oh, I'll say it to my brother, my dadi, my nanny. I was like, are you going to do it? As I'm not being like, strict madam teacher, but
giving them targets. Like giving them targets.
Yeah, give them targets, and they will, sure enough, say. And then when they come back to the class, did you do it? Yeah, they did. I'm really humbled by that. I'm thinking, they listen to us. Like, they really
the power you have, Safrina. The power you've got.
It's a teacher. It's not me. It's the teacher-student relationship that they have grown up with, obviously from day dot that they've gone to school, right? So I think it's really important to do that if you are struggling on your own. Obviously, I'm going to promote my classes, so I'm very passionate about it. But if you are struggling, then contact me.
Can we get your contact details and your organisation's name as well, so that if there is anyone out there that needs that extra support, at least they've got someone.
Yeah. So my website is Smile4Kids, so SMILE, which actually stands, which I don't really say much. It's Speak My Indian Language Easily. So Smile4Kids, number 4 kids, Smile4Kids. So I'm available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, as everybody knows.
And this is the thing, Safrina. Thank you very much for all of this information. You have genuinely made me think a bit deeper as to how important it is that we do
100%.
teach our kids our mother tongue. Like you said, it is about the fact that we are parents ourselves. I think you said it really eloquently earlier in the podcast. We're now having to have these conversations because we now need to teach our kids, and it's what we want to put emphasis on. And just like you had your penny drop moment whilst you were in Tenerife,
Yeah.
I think all of us are getting to that stage where it's like, what are we doing next? And this is why
Yeah, but the key thing is not to panic, not to feel guilty, just to embrace it. And a little is better than nothing at all.
Perfect.
Right? Don't put pressure on yourselves. I'm always here to help, obviously, but honestly, you don't need to feel guilty because everybody is in the same boat. And whether your children are 18 or 6 or 10 or 12, it's never too late. And I'll tell you, because my elder daughter started when she was 7, she sang all my songs in Punjabi. She didn't know a word of Punjabi, but I made her learn all the words and sing all the songs. I used to video her in live classes and put it up on the projector and get all the kids to sing and everything. She still knows them all, and she's in year 7 now, and she got the highest mark in German. I couldn't believe it. And I put it down like credit to myself for opening the door to languages at an early age, right? She's bilingual, so she's going to take on more languages really easy. German is tough.
It is. I mean, I like I said, I think you've definitely opened my eyes as to why it's so important we learn any language, but especially our mother tongue. So thank you so
100%.
much for your time today, Safrina.
And thank you for everyone that's listening. I know I've rambled on a bit.
Like I said, we always have these conversations and things come out of it, and I'm surprised as to how deep certain parts go, and it's no exception today as to you don't realize what the connection is. So thank you very much for your time today. And in regards to our listeners, like Safrina said, keep it simple, everyday language, and start today, because
daily practice, meal times. Use meal times. Don't set a specific time to get the books and the whatnot out.
And once our listeners have started, please let us know what phrases you are using in the household, because we're all pretty much using the same phrases. So we'll all learn those. But thank you so much for your time, Safrina.
And thank you both. Thank you for listening.
That's goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.
Follow us on Instagram and Facebook, changing_suits, and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook, changing_suits, and subscribe so you never miss an episode.